Yo, people, and welcome to For a Different Lens podcast. I'm your co-host, Joe.
And I'm Jacob.
And right now, we have a very special lady guest joining us. I always say guest, I wanted to switch it up. But, young lady, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. My name's Jorden, and I'm really happy to be here on the pod, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes. We're honored to have you. And Jordan's a big supporter of us anyway. Like, she's been massive for us over last year alone. Little things that she's done, she might not realize that it's been big, but it's been massive for us. Like, so
First few episodes were actually in her apartment.
trust, like, shout out you, Jordan, for real. Like,
That was fun, actually. Yeah.
So, you know.
so Jordan's seen behind the scenes as well. So, but yeah, how you doing? Obviously, we always like to open up. Just how are you?
Do you
How's
know what?
life?
Life is good. I can't even complain. I am good. I'm black, blessed, and highly favored.
Men.
Just working, keeping busy, trying to not let the UK weather let me down. But we're seeing a bit of sun now, so things are getting better.
I was gonna say that still. Look a bit of brightness here and there.
It helps so much, doesn't it?
Nah, it actually does.
We've had a rubbish winter, but yeah, feeling good. I'm good.
Still traveling?
Do you know what? I've been in the country for 3 months, and this is the maximum I can do. So I'm going away in 2 weeks.
No.
Huh?
Because what?
No. Elaborate.
I think the only way
She said it as if 3 months is a long
time.
like,
No, it is. It is. I think the only way to survive the UK is to leave regularly.
No,
That is my
I
philosophy.
co-sign this.
Yeah, so I'm going to Ghana in 2 weeks.
So how long?
10 days.
Oh, so you're just taking a...
Just taking
Taking
a
a nice break.
yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
So where was your last location?
Dominican Republic in January. Lovely. It was lovely.
At some points, I was messaging her and, we're recording today? Nah, I'm not here. I'll be back on Monday, next Monday. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Just got pushback.
Yeah.
Are you one of those ones that when you're abroad, you might just extend your ticket or...
Do you know what? I've never extended a ticket,
fair.
but I'm tempted. I'm one of those ones that wherever I go, I'm thinking about whether I could live there.
Okay.
That's more who I am. So I'll be like, oh, let me just have a little look at a couple apartments. That's what I'm doing when I'm away.
First trip, visit, moving. Their version of right move. Bang.
Like, let me have a chat with some of the locals. Like, what's it saying around here? Like, I'm constantly thinking about exiting the UK, which is So guys, don't even be surprised in a few months. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Should I speak it? But maybe next year. I don't think I'm here full time. I don't think so.
You're not really here full time right now, though.
Well, fair, but
She's everywhere.
I'm here most of the time with small breaks. But yeah,
Those breaks will become bigger breaks.
I think so. I just
Split your time 50-50 here and wherever.
I mean, there's a mass exodus happening from the UK as well. No one's really talking about that, but a lot of people are moving on. And if you can do your job remotely, then what is really holding you here? What is really holding you here is a
spoke about it
question.
yesterday.
Yesterday, last week.
Yeah, we speak about it every week. we actually say what we're doing here, and then we sit there and go, nothing much. It's just the money.
It's the money, but now that the cost of living is so much higher, I think people used to kill themselves to try and get to the UK because you would come here and make so much money. But now you're making as you're making it, it's going out of your hand because you're paying extortionate rates for everything. So what's the pull here?
No, it's true.
Nothing much, really.
That I cannot dispute.
No. You know what the pull is? Amazon. Delivery services. I'm Jordan.
What getting delivered? The convenience of things.
The convenience of things is good here because when you go Grenada, live in Grenada, and you order something 3 weeks.
What are you even ordering? You better know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Exactly.
Or you might as well just fly to Miami or something. Go do your shopping and come back.
On a serious note, but I don't know if I could do Grenada. But do you know where it shocks me about? I don't know why it shocked me, but convenience, Johannesburg. When I went, there is so much convenience.
Have you been there before?
Yeah. Johannesburg's one of the only airports that I've cried in on the way back because I was so upset that I was leaving.
Oh, right.
It was beautiful. It's literally everything. You can get everything the way you get it here. You can get it there, but you're in the sun and you're chilling.
That makes sense.
And there's Amapiano playing in the background.
That makes sense though in my brain.
Sign me up.
Yeah. No, on a serious, like seriously, like I'm not even like it's not even an exaggeration.
Nah, essays on my list, but yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, that makes sense in my head though. South Africa sounds like the place where you should be kind of. It's not third world Africa.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
That's it's kind of been whiteified. If I say that right, you get what I mean. That's It's one of the places where you think, okay.
I mean, for them to host the World Cup,
Exactly.
True.
and that was what 15 years ago. So
Exactly, a great World Cup as well.
So it would have definitely even improved furthermore. Because you've seen it, like, you've probably seen it firsthand. Like, I've heard a lot of people say how much Ghana's improved over the last couple of years. Like, people say in West Africa, Accra is the place to be, innit?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, the main African countries, if they're stepping up, Dirty December, Nigeria, Ghana.
100%.
Or you've got bare Americans traveling over Christmas, like, actually really enjoying it. So, it's not just, like, Brits and stuff. So, development's happening.
I know.
So
We want to be part of it. We want to be part of that development. But how much can we be part of that development if we're here? Is also a bit of it.
we can be a small part of it. You
yeah.
can't obviously be all in.
No.
But you're not developing anything here, are we?
No.
That's the real.
Well, I don't know. Maybe some people are. Maybe some people are.
Billionaires. Who's developing things here? Who's really developing things here? In terms of on that
those
scale.
are the money.
On that scale, because you see like Lethal B and that sort of stuff, they're building.
Back home.
Apartment buildings. Like there's things we see in the high rises, like in Croydon,
Yeah.
they're building them out in Africa. So who's doing that we know on a personal level here?
True. I can't name anybody.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think people are doing it. Like, even people that you know are doing it, but just so quietly. Yeah. And because, like, not in a try to diminish it way, but there's so much people doing the same thing here.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, say back home, it's like you said, when Lethal Bizzle first done it, he's one of the first that is doing it. Like, obviously, more people are doing it now, so it's gonna get like amplified a bit more, which it should.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for instance, you could be doing something now, and no one knows until you actually tell them.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah,
True.
Yeah,
Because I even saw someone play a post today that you know very well, and he was actually not offering services, but it's like, who wants to jump on board with me in this property development thing? And I was like, no one would know unless he put that out. Do you know what I mean?
You're not
so
wrong.
like, there is a lot of us, well, a lot of you guys doing it, for instance. Which
I'm just talking about to the scale.
yeah.
Like,
But I think that's where we bridge the gap where, for instance, if me, you and Jordan's all doing it collectively, we're starting. Then
Yeah.
obviously we might not say reap the benefits, but get the praise for it. But in like, say 15, 20 years time, it's going to be on that scale because of what we've started.
Of course.
Yeah, I agree.
Then like the next generation or whoever in that time, they'll take the credit, but we're the ones that actually started it.
That's true.
You're not wrong.
I think, it is what it is, man.
All these things you've got to think about when you're an adult. So.
Yeah, facts. So if you want to F off out of this country, it makes sense. Because I already said many times, good opportunity, I'm out, bruv. I have no reason to say, no offense, family, mum, dad, you know I love you. Sisters, you got my number. If I'm out, I'm out.
Do you have like a restriction on where you would go, or would you just go wherever the opportunity is?
I think I've said this yesterday. If the opportunity was great and like the living circumstance was fine, I'm good. Like, I've not got my heart set on anywhere, but I am open to a lot of places as well.
Is there any way you won't go?
Well, obviously, like, I would say third world country to an extent, but like the way of living, we're spoiled by default here, innit? So, like, and I can be impatient for certain stuff, and I'm like, bro, like naturally you have to adhere to certain places and stuff like that, but it's not everywhere I can. Yeah. Straight away, unless like I've just got nothing to do. Like, again, can't rule out anywhere, but obviously like certain places, either danger factor, war torn, etc., all that jazz, and maybe just a way of living. Because by default, I need good internet access, all that stuff.
100%.
Whereas I know you for a period of time. Half the time, Jacob don't know where his phone is.
Yeah, true.
Like, so Jacob can be away from the world for 5 hours.
Yeah, it's not important.
Like, I need
Yeah,
a period
fair.
of time. I need to do that if I just want to check out from everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas that's just your actual way of living.
If my
as well.
phone's somewhere else.
Like, if you weren't doing all this, I'll tell you, Jacob will be like, I'll get back to you outside my head, bro. So, get me, yeah.
Yeah.
No restrictions.
Fair.
So before we move on to what we're talking about, what's the best country you visited? Or top 3? Give us your top 3.
South Africa, Johannesburg was amazing. Grenada is beautiful. I can't not say Grenada. I can't. It's in the top 3. And do you know where else was beautiful? Lebanon.
Ooh.
Lebanon was like stunning. Obviously, there's conflict going on there and all that drama now. But I went maybe about 5-6 years ago. Absolutely beautiful. Like and actually very much. I don't think people really understand that you can go there and still have like the bars, the clubs.
I've
experience.
actually heard that with there. Yeah.
Rooftops are elite. And Jordan's amazing as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw Jorden. It always comes up on that Voyage Privé and all
Yeah,
them things.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
telling everyone go, but I'm like,
I would say go.
It's until you know someone that's taken that leap of faith to actually go to the certain places that you wouldn't think. You're like, oh, it's actually
nice place to actually visit.
The friendliest people, like the friendliest people, like literally like Uber's trying to be like, oh, what? I can drop you guys to your hotel, but my wife is cooking. Like, come back to my like dinner. I'll bring all your great okay, like it's cool. It's gonna go back to the hotel.
You just
like,
met me.
yeah, like 20 minutes ago. Like, it's fine. But the friendliest people. Yeah, I would. If you haven't, add it to your list, guys. Add it to your list.
Jorden.
Yeah, I mean, once conflict is
Yeah.
over in the surrounding countries, I should say, because in like it's weird. There's a lot of Lebanese people in Sierra Leone.
Really? Oh yeah.
Like a lot of Lebanese people can speak Creole because they've either gone back and forth over the years and stuff like that. And like I've never actually looked into the history as to why. My parents would know, but it was something that they'd always told us when we were younger and stuff like that. So.
So let's actually get down to business, what we're here to talk about. But
This is business.
obviously, as well, it is Social Work Month.
It is Social Work Month.
It's Social Work Month. But before Social Work Month, have you watched Adolescence?
Oh my gosh, I watched it 2 days ago.
Because I feel like that's going to tie a lot into what we're
Have
talking
you
about.
watched it? I've not watched it yet. It's on my list to watch.
I haven't watched it, but I've seen what's going on. So I feel like I watched it because everyone's talking about it.
Fine.
You know what I mean?
I need you both to watch it.
How does that... Obviously, the background of the show. You know the background of the show, right?
Not fully, but I saw something yesterday where it was, I don't know if it was the actual anyone to do with the show or something, but they said they want Adolescence like previewed in Parliament or something. So young boys, because I don't actually know the premise, but young boys can get like a better education of how. All right, say what.
Shall I explain what it's about?
Yeah,
I mean, is
then
it spoilers?
I'll probably be
Am I
able to
giving
word
spoilers?
what I read.
Are you guys gonna?
No, we'll watch it anyway.
You're gonna watch it. Do you
Yeah.
mind spoilers?
No, not in this case.
No.
Just give a.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So the main character is Jamie. Jamie's 13, and basically Jamie's arrested for he's arrested for a crime against the girl in his school, and it's a 4-part mini-series. Like, you know, obviously British 4-part mini-series are usually brilliant, literally. And it just follows the case through. So it follows the case from when he is arrested to when the police are going to the school to like interview the school children about what's gone on, and to Jamie being in like it's not a prison, isn't it? But like a youth offenders unit, basically. And then the last episode, I think, is the episode that most people have been talking about. It's about the impact on Jamie's family. And it is mind blowing. Like, it is so good. It is such a good miniseries, and which is why there's been so much conversation about it in the last. Well, I think but maybe 2 or 3 days. Maybe because I just watched it a few days ago. But my algorithm has just been all about Adolescence since then. Yeah.
So how does that tie into? So obviously, I kind of know the case of what happened. Joe doesn't. So
I'm trying to find it.
Yeah.
Well, continue.
Okay.
I'm trying to find that specific what I saw about it.
So I know the case. how does that kind of tie into, obviously, you're a social worker.
Yeah.
How does that tie into what you do in terms of that case there? Is that similar to anything you've kind of seen on any type of level, or does that tie into anything that you do or work on?
Yeah, sure. So the main themes in Adolescence are around misogyny, male rage. I guess domestic abuse between under 16s, which is on the rise. And I guess family upheaval. So I'm a social worker. I've been qualified and practicing for the last 10, maybe 11 years. And the work that I do, mainly child protection, safeguarding stuff, we are working with families who are having who are in upheaval. So it may be that a child in the family has been arrested, or it may be that there's whatever the safeguarding issue is, a social worker like me will be supporting that family. So in the case of Adolescence, I was interested to see, there was a social worker in the first episode who attends the police station with Jamie, I believe, and he's they're like an appropriate adult for Jamie in the police station. So that's a role that I've never done that, but colleagues of mine have, done that. Yeah. So
have you been close to being in that situation, or is it not on your? Obviously, I don't know.
No, probably if you were.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That might be the youth offending team would have.
Fair.
Yeah, I've done more child protection stuff. So the stuff that I would do is neglect, domestic abuse, violence in the home, school truancy, that sort of thing, adoption, fostering, that sort of thing. And when it becomes more specialized, so if you have a child who's been arrested, or is we're concerned about gangs, we're concerned about them being arrested and that sort of thing, then the youth offending teams in each local authority may do more work with that child. So maybe you'll transfer that family over to work over there if the issue is just around that child, not a family kind of unit issue. So there's a lot of different, you can almost specialize if you like, when you're a social worker, in different departments.
Okay.
But I would do kind of general safeguarding concerns that affect a family and affect children.
Okay. Jesus.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about social work because it's really complex, and I think the role of a social worker in society is incredibly complex as well. So it's hard to describe what we do because every single day will be different, and every single family could be different.
Right.
Yeah, because there's times I've been at yours and you said one day you might have to be here, the next day they're phoning you to go to somewhere crazy. So how does that work in terms of the base level of you live in London, but you have clientele around the country? Or
yeah,
is it like a catchment area kind of?
So it depends on your role. So I know because when you were at mine, the last time, for you guys that don't know, Jacob's my cousin, so we are in and out each other's houses. Yes. The role that I was in is I was assessing, I was doing viability assessments for family support carers. So when a child it cannot stay in their family home, a social worker will do an assessment of connected family members to see if a child can go there. If there's no family member, then the local authority will have to think about going to court so that the child can maybe be fostered or removed from the home, or removed from the family space, if you like. So the reason why I was traveling around is because we had a child in Croydon who somehow how did this child end up in Croydon? Because all of his family were in, where is it, up by Sheffield. So my manager was calling me to be like, oh, can you go to Sheffield tomorrow? I was like, I was like, excuse me. Yes, I did end up going. I was fuming, but we went and did the assessment, which it wasn't viable anyway, but so that's that particular role. But before that's kind of the last kind of local authority role that I've done, and now I do now I'm a consultant, so I do work with social work charities, if you like, and organizations. So I'm not on the front line. I'm not on the front line anymore. Yeah, really.
How is the front line then? Because obviously you brought out this mini series on the Instagram where you're kind of telling stories around social work and the truth behind it.
Yeah.
And what you encounter on a daily basis on the front line. So what's some of the things that you'd encounter on the front line as a social worker that no one really knows about? Like being threatened with dogs or, you know. I'm just saying like stuff like that because obviously people don't want you in the house. People do anything. Social worker come like bailiff.
Yeah, that's true.
People-
They'll be like, Buster, get her.
The thing is, you lot social worker come like bailiffs. Oh no.
That's what they probably are, in it for people that don't want their kids.
Yeah, to people. Yeah, no, it's true.
No, it is true. And actually, you appreciate when you're on the front line that people don't want you knocking on their door, and you get it. Like you wouldn't want somebody knocking on your door, because it feels like a criticism, and it probably feels like an attack and a criticism.
I don't even like salespeople knocking on my door, let alone.
Do you get it?
Yeah, no disrespect.
No disrespect, but
like
yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses as well. The
Check the
Jehovah's
ring.
Witnesses-
Oh yeah. Thank God for ring camera now, bro.
So you get it. People don't like that. Let alone come into your door to say, "Oh, there's been a referral made
Yeah,
about your
that
child.
speaks to it.
Can we chat about that?"
Do you think? Yeah. Sorry to cut.
Yeah.
You off. Like, is there ever moments where, obviously, you're not on the front line, but you've heard or you've known that it's caught like a parent off guard. They're not expecting it.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That happens. So, it's complicated, but okay. Let me give you a little bit of my work history, and I'll tie into that. Yeah. So,
That's fine, yeah.
when I trained, I don't know if I can I drop the local authority? Can I drop their name? Nah, I'm
Just
not gonna.
no,
I'm not
no.
going to. Fine.
We don't want that.
Fine.
We've
Yeah.
had
No.
enough.
Fine. That's fine. So my first 5 years after I qualified, I worked in a in a city, London local authority as a child protection social worker. So that's long-term work.
Okay.
So that means you get the family to work with, and you can have them. You could work with them for months, for years, because you're working through the problems.
Okay.
But before the case comes to you as a long-term child protection social worker, there's already been like an assessment team, and they're the ones who have gotten the referral through and have gone out and knocked on the door.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But if that team haven't been able to get through to the family and they're still concerned, they will pass that family over to you and be like, well, we've tried. Here you go. Crack on. Good luck.
Oh.
So, and there will be, you'll knock on a door and people will be like, what? I didn't know about this. Or like somehow something's happened and they were not aware of the referral, or they weren't aware of the concerns. So you are the first person who they're seeing, well, or they were dodging you, but you are the first person that they're seeing. So you are getting the angst, like you're getting the confusion. You're having the initial conversations with them. So I did that for five years. Then I did a similar role in a different local authority for 6 months. Then after that, for another 5 years, I worked in private law cases in the family courts, and now I'm a consultant. So I guess I've done frontline for like 5.5 years, and then for the last 4 or 5 years, I've done private law stuff. So it's very different. I'm still working with families, but in a different capacity. They're in court. They're beefing over the kids. Usually, it's all very tense. It's all very difficult, and I'm in court advising the judge about maybe like steps to take next. So it's different. But I think what most people think of a social worker is a person who goes and knocks on the door. And when I have been in that position to do that, yeah, definitely people will like, you know, I'm not putting a dog away. I'm gonna let the dog out. All right, let the dog out. Let the dog out. That's what you need to do. But I need to talk to you anyway. Like it can be very tense, but you have to be able to. Social workers, the key skill is communication and to talk to people and to not panic. Don't panic.
How can you not panic?
I mean,
Stay calm and carry on.
It's a mad situation to try to not panic.
yeah.
But what are you panicking for?
Because you're not rolling there with police. You're not rolling there with anyone.
No, you're not.
It's just you,
Yeah.
a young woman at the time, and you're
Yeah.
rolling there and.
At the time, cheeky.
So,
Yeah,
you're
carry
older than
on.
me, Jordan.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. And actually, when I started, I was young. 10 years ago. Yeah, it's a long time. Fair.
What you gonna lie to you 12?
No, I was very young when I qualified. No, yeah, fine. But
So-
yeah, you're literally in maybe like an estate. You're just rolling through. I think people can like they know that you're not from there.
Yeah,
so you're like, oh, you're right. People are like looking at you sideways, hoping that you're not gonna knock on their door. And then yeah. That's been, and the area that I worked in first, is a more notorious part of London. Like it's a part that had a very bad reputation at the time. And we had to consider that in when we were working. With
So
the
would you
families.
always just go by yourself, or would it be a case of you go with someone else, or is on those type of visits? Would you go with?
If the family was very hostile, then there would be an agreement made in the office like that 2 of you would go.
But there's
Okay.
just two people,
Yeah.
no authority.
What do you mean?
Because
Like no police?
Yeah.
No.
Isn't that's more from what I see on like EastEnders and stuff?
Yeah, EastEnders, yeah.
That's like the final case part, like the final part when the police will join, isn't it?
The police will come if there's been an emergency. So if there's been something like, I don't know, a child has gone to school and said, this urgent crazy thing happened to me yesterday at home, then the social worker will get hold of the whole kind of network and say, the school will get hold of the network and the social worker and say, this is what's happened. And a decision will be made amongst all of the professionals, health, social worker, police, who else? Whoever's involved. And the police will decide whether they're going to do a joint visit or they're going to do just report back to us. It's got to be very serious though.
For them to
For
get
them
involved.
to, yeah, thresholds are, especially in London, very high. It's very high.
Is that partly because like there's just too much going on? Where if the threshold weren't high enough, it will be way too time consuming.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I don't know, because I've never worked out of London, but my impression is that some of the cases that we work here, or the families that we work with, and how we work with them in London, if they were in a different part of the UK, children maybe would have just been removed.
Right.
Okay.
Like the threshold in London, and especially particular boroughs in London, are really high. It would probably, which is probably why we're working them the way that we are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm not going to say names, but
I
there are
understand.
some. Yeah, when I speak to some social workers in particular boroughs, and they tell me like what's caused the social worker to have to be involved, and I'm like, oh, so we're working with the family to rectify that, or are we concerned? How concerned are we about these children?
Yeah.
Highly concerned, but threshold is too high. Is threshold is so high, they're working through rather than thinking about removal or thinking about what whereas other places they would have been like,
Yeah, they're being removed.
we're gonna head to court and see what
Is
happens
that
in
just?
court.
But that's mad that when you said there's too much going on.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to think about. Because there's too much going on, we now can't look after the actual child's safety.
Well, you're looking after your I can't see when I can't see we're not looking after the child's safety, but maybe we're going to visit that home 3 times a week rather than once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're so worried, but because the threshold in that borough is so high, they're not even reaching a level where the local authority are looking at whether or not this child should even be in the house in the first place. Because actually, on the grand scheme of things, in all the cases that you have,
It doesn't.
it's not the top. It's not at the top of the list.
So what's the grounds for actually removal then? What are the grounds for removal?
And this is the grounds for removal. It would have to be you've reached kind of the highest level of safeguarding concern, and it would have to be able to. I agree that threshold should be high for removal, because you shouldn't be able to just go into a family home and remove children easily. It's not.
Yeah.
When you see people online, they're like, "Oh, social workers just take children." I'm like, if you understood the process of removing a child from their family home, you would understand it is no easy feat, and it shouldn't be. But you're looking at kind of the stuff that goes on in like soap operas, like the EastEnders stuff,
But
the
even
high
in
end
EastEnders,
scale
it's still
of
to
stuff.
the very peak until the feds come with the social worker.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But it has to.
Hey,
They
don't
have to
diminish the square, you know. Trust me, my G's.
don't diminish the square. But the levels are high, and it has to test. It has to almost pass the test in court, that the court are sufficient, that actually there needs to be this level of intervention here.
Even
to
with
remove.
what I'm trying to work out here is why a threshold in London or in a specific borough is higher than a threshold in Stoke.
I think probably maybe, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but probably partly with the volume of cases.
It's the volume
So-
of case, and I think the level of need as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not thing is. The thing is,
It should be
I'm
on the same level though. That's what
It should be.
in my brain. It should be on the same level, just because if it's the same things happening and it's grounds for removal in Stoke, then in London we can't sit there and go, oh, okay, it's happening, but we're
But
gonna leave you in
do
the
you
house.
think like they probably take, say, environmental things into account? I feel like not even to diminish other cities, but London, there's just too much going on. Like, so there could be not an excuse, but there could be like much more reasons for different things. Because I've heard stories of like social workers go to places in London, for instance, and just I say places, houses in London or families, and they've said like to the child, for instance, your household is completely fine. Like it's been not them directly saying it's been a waste of our time, but like I'm guessing it didn't meet the threshold for it.
it hasn't met the threshold.
Yeah, at all, and stuff like that. So I think they might take in like other things into account. Obviously, again, I might be wrong.
I think
playing
that
the
you
guessing
have
game.
to like as in you have to take the context of the environment into,
Yeah.
and it's not because I haven't worked out of London. It's hard to compare the two, but in a city, like working in a city is going to be it's going to raise a whole different kind of group of safeguarding concerns and problems than if you're working in like a countryside, like an area. Like if we talk about like East Sussex or something, and your houses are much more spread out.
Yeah.
There's do you know what I mean? Like caseloads may not be as high. Maybe they've got like. Maybe they might have more or less staff. Like all those things are taken into account.
Yeah, bro. Some ends you gotta walk 45 minutes just to your bus stop to go to school for some kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. And
Yeah,
that's so
ridiculous.
it's different. The concerns or the concerns of the local authority and the threshold of the local authority could be different to in a city, London borough. Just due to like geography, location, what's happened. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Resources as well. Some boroughs have more. Some local authorities have more money than other local
Yeah,
authorities.
yes.
That's a massive thing
That's
as well.
a massive thing to be fair.
So
For instance, when Croydon went broke,
they're broke currently.
yeah, there's now no resources for any grounds to do anything basically along those lines. Basically, you're stuck. You're working backwards.
I just finished a contract with Croydon, so I'm not going to speak too much about Croydon. But when a borough has no money and no resources to support families, that becomes very difficult for social workers
Right.
and then inevitably the families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I will stand on this. I think every borough that I've worked in, sometimes the biggest issue is the fact that no one's got any money as well. As in the safeguarding concerns have, say we get a call and there's a referral made because the children have been left at home. The neighbours called, the children have been left at home unaccompanied. They're by themselves. They've been left alone. We're worried about the children. We can hear them in the house and there's no adult in the house. You go to the house and the mum, 3 kids, I don't know, under the age of 10, and the mum and dad are telling you, but we have to work.
Yeah.
So what do you want us to do? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Poverty and
That's
a lack
where
of money.
The grey area comes into play more or less.
It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue. Poverty is a huge issue. And if we didn't have an issue, if we didn't have the issue of poverty, I reckon probably at least like 50% of the cases in every borough that I would work with, maybe even more, 60% wouldn't have even been cases open, because actually the underlying concern of the whole issue is been that the parents do not have the money or resources
To take care of them.
to care for them.
Yeah.
They want to.
Yeah.
They want to.
They actually just have to go out and earn money to
Yeah.
keep the family afloat, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah. That's tough.
No, it is. That is very peak.
And that's not to say, but then that's not to say that the areas where there's more money, they still have social workers and they still have
Problems.
their problems as well.
Yeah.
But that's the whole other thing.
Jeez.
And actually, being a social worker who works in an area that has more money, or has a demographic that's earning more,
Yeah.
people think that would be easier. It's not. I had a friend who worked in a borough that has a lot of money, very plush houses, beautiful, and she was saying how difficult it was to work in. You're going to knock on these doors, they're not letting you past the gate.
Right. So to even try and get in.
to even get into the
Wow.
compound because there's a referral that's been made, and you're talking to mum and dad. Dad's a judge, mum's a surgeon, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, sorry, who are you? Like, it's a whole different set of difficulties, but the difficulties are still there. And children, whatever your, I don't know, like whatever resources your family have, still need to be safeguarded.
Yeah.
But poverty is a massive issue.
So that's where you'd say the main issue behind everything is lack of money in the country, lack of money for resources for these families. And then, because it's not not wanting to. Obviously, you must have the cases where there's people that just don't want to take care of their kids, but I don't know if it's a not wanting to thing when it comes to these like parents that you see on a regular basis or the families you deal with.
Yeah, I would say only like, I don't know, I've worked with like hundreds of families now. I would say maybe only like 10%. I was like, you're not motivated to parent your children at all. The rest they want to parent their children. They want to be good parents, but there are just other factors that are just making it incredibly difficult for them to do so.
Right.
And poverty being one of those factors.
Is that in like when obviously Jacob just said there not being enough money? Is there technically money, but it's not spread out to, let's say, particular departments, for instance, or like spread out across the board on different kind of social playing fields? Not just social work, but do you know what I mean? Like, because like you said, one local authority might have more money than another local authority, etc. Is there a way that they can collectively work together, or is it just in a not in a bad way, but every man for themselves?
Kind of. I mean, every local authority gets a budget, isn't it? So they can decide where the budget goes.
MP's pocket.
I mean, sometimes that's what happens, but the money isn't always getting to where it needs to be. And then depending on the local authority, you may just have a lot of families that have needs.
Yeah.
Like you may just have a lot of families that have needs. And seeing as we've spoken about Croydon, if we're looking at Croydon is a massive borough as well.
It is huge.
Huge
place.
Bearing in mind that Croydon also has the Home Office. So the need of unaccompanied minors who come into Croydon as well. So they're like, you know, unaccompanied minors are when like you've come from abroad by yourself and you need to be cared for while they figure out kind of, you know, who you are and how to best help you. That comes straight into Croydon as well. So then you think about the fact that all these local authorities have their own, Plymouth as well, that will happen to Plymouth, Bristol, all the kind of coastal areas as well. They have an extra kind of need that comes in with how do you decide where all the money, like how do you do?
Right.
Yeah, you can't.
It's not a job I would want to have to kind of budget that. I wouldn't want it.
You wouldn't know. You honestly wouldn't know because you don't know who's coming in on a daily basis. You're just like, okay, well, we're dealing with you today, you tomorrow. How much money do we put for the families that are here? How much money do we put for the people the refugees coming over? And you'd probably sit there and go.
And I mean, like you, again, sticking to Croydon, we all knew when they went effectively bust or whatever, bankrupt, whatever, years ago, for instance. As those that live in Croydon or live nearby, it wasn't something that was hidden. It was public knowledge. And as silly as it sounds, the whole Westfield aspect, that actually played a big part into like people generally knowing what's going on. Because how many times did that project get pulled off, cancelled? Like I remember seeing the actual plan for it, and I was like, this is gonna make Croydon like so much better, etc. Blah blah blah. And there's just no money. You go into Whitgift Centre, half the shopping centre is closed down. The shops there are closed down. It literally looks like a TV series.
It's a ghost town.
Like
It's a zombie apocalypse. That's what
some
I say.
apocalypse things. Like, bro, it's nuts. So obviously, if we're seeing it, and I'm seeing it, and I don't know hardly anything about social work, I know it's gonna affect like the
If there's
budgets
no
in
money,
other areas.
100%. And bearing in mind, social work is or children's services are only one part of what the borough is trying to deal with. Yeah, exactly. As you're
Literally.
saying, so it's just
That could be their 1 in 20. Like,
and then the other part of it is that also, so now things have gotten more expensive in general. So even taking the borough out of it, but families who were working So you've got two parents working full time, but the rent's doubled now.
Yeah.
So their money is going into other things, and maybe the other things that is going into is not the children.
Yeah.
So now you're working longer and you're leaving your children at home alone. Do you see what I mean? It spirals.
You can't pay for childcare because childcare has gone up as well. So yeah, in effect, then the cost of living has really, really, really hit the people that couldn't do it in the first place.
Like those of a lower economic class, it's hit them even further.
Yeah,
like,
but people just forget about them.
Yeah.
People forget about them. And
But
also,
they're the bigger percentage of the country.
Exactly. They're more strained. So now you have parents who are more stressed parenting children. Like, do you see the knock-on effect is crazy? Parenting children, then, which could lead to the rise in like physical chastisement, neglect, like all these things happen. Now you're leaving your children cared for by maybe like unregulated nursery do you see what I mean? It just opens the door to so much. And then from a private law perspective, when the cost I shouldn't even laugh, but when the cost of living goes up, people struggle to get housing and stuff. So now we have couples who are going through divorces living in the same house. What's the impact on the children there? It happens a lot. So you're like, okay,
where you gonna go?
So you're upstairs, you're downstairs, the kids are in the middle. Dad doesn't talk to the kids on Tuesday and a Wednesday, mum doesn't talk to the kids on a Thursday and a Friday.
But you live in the same house and you're walking past them all the time.
I saw we spoke about something like this last week.
About
just
adulting.
Yeah, adulting, but not to the not thinking of it from that perspective. Yeah, that is mad. I was gonna ask you, what's like the biggest misconception like you think people have about social work or social workers?
I think the biggest misconception is that social workers are coming to take your coming to remove your children. That's the biggest one. I think that's the initial kind of hurdle when you meet a family. First and foremost, the kind of the line is that social workers are trying to keep families together.
Right.
So when people come online, I find it interesting because I try to not have too many conversations about social work. It's a very hot topic.
Right.
But when like people come online and they're like, oh, the social workers came into my house and took the children for no reason, I'm like, I don't know. That's highly, highly unlikely.
Yeah,
that's highly unlikely.
Especially you've been on the front line. You actually know what it takes, the bar that it takes 100%. For it to get that far.
Courts. It is common for a court to say you haven't got enough information. You haven't got enough here. No, you can't have a care order. Go and work with this family. That is very regular for judges to say that. It is not a given that children are just going to be removed from your care at all. There will be months and years of work with a family to address the safeguarding issue before court is even thought about. And I think that's a massive misconception of social work.
So the percentage of children being removed is actually very low.
It's low.
Oh, okay.
It's low. Oh, I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but it's not what I can very confidently say is that unless the situation is like I've had a maybe the most like straightforward is that we had a woman who got pregnant. She had very like difficult concerns with substance misuse. She didn't even know how she got pregnant. That's how bad the substance misuse was. And we found out, we were alerted very late into her pregnancy, like 7-8 months into her pregnancy. Referral came straight past assessment, straight up to long term. I managed to get hold of her, like she had an adult daughter. We could get hold of her daughter to do an assessment. Your mum's gonna have a baby. We don't even know the condition of this baby once the baby is born. A few weeks later, the mum had a baby, I think who was born addicted.
The baby was born addicted? Yeah,
so if you misuse substances during your pregnancy, the baby is highly likely to be born addicted.
Wow.
So therefore he was in like a special care unit or like a NICU, and she left the hospital. So that was maybe mum up and left.
Oh, what, without
the baby? Did she try to take the baby? Something happened anyway. She left the hospital and we went to court. It was the most straightforward.
Of course.
Judge, we need a care order for this little boy who's in. Hopefully he's gonna make it out of the NICU. And I'm gonna assess the daughter to take care of him. Cool. That does not happen. That was one afternoon. Went to court, got the court order, came back, assessed the daughter who was his sister, to care for him, placed him. close the case.
In that case, though, surely it's not in your best interest to put someone with a family member, because then the mum can see, or are you allowed to, or is there a restraining order there, or is there points where you're like, she's not allowed to see her son?
It's part of the assessment. And a lot of the assessment with the daughter was, how old was she? And she was a young mum as well. So part of the assessment, which doesn't necessarily like hinder her, but how are you going to cope with this? How are you going to cope with looking after your, I don't know, 3-year-old and your brother who may have needs because he's been born addicted? He may not.
So just for argument's sake, just say she was 21. She's got a 3-year-old already.
I think she was. She was maybe like, she was definitely under 25. And it was such an intense, because the baby was, I think her mum must have been about 8 months pregnant. So we were like, fine. Like it was literally like, call the family. Like it was one of those ones, like, who can we talk to? Like it was one of those ones, because we did not know how much time was left. We didn't know where mum was staying. We didn't know anything. We were really hoping that actually she was going to go to the hospital to have this baby, because if she hadn't gone to the hospital, who knows where the baby would have been.
Yeah.
We were concerned that may have happened before. But anyway, but that's part of the assessment. If your mum rocks up to your house tomorrow and says, I want this baby back, what are you doing? Because she had experience, her mum had been a long-term user during her childhood as well. She was like, I have no issue kicking my mum out of my house. Like I have not got an issue at all.
Not in a like rude way, but I've heard like stories from, say, people that I've known, that the kids with those kind of upbringing, they're the ones that are even more militant as they grow up. Because like, so just say this daughter, and for instance, like, I'm not saying you as a social worker will think the baby will definitely stay with her, but you'll feel a bit more comfortable, because in the sense that, all right, not in the social worker aspect, maybe just me looking from the outset, looking in, that the daughter's really not going to live the way the mum's lived.
Yeah, kind of.
And then obviously then the family factor is that it's your mum, you might just draw them back in, etc.
That's
basically what you said.
Yeah, that's the kind of, that's where I'm.
Yeah, you have to assess it, and it's hard because you have to make a judgment on that. Like you have to say, okay, I think she will be able to keep a boundary in place, or or this is what needs to be put in place in order to make sure that she's able to keep the boundary in place. When we do our like systemic training or our social work training, we're taught that people either go 2 ways. Either you will grow up with a corrective script or a repetitive script, right? So a corrective script is that you will do what was done in your childhood home. You will do exactly the same. Like you will pretty much follow that because that's familiar to you. And no, sorry. That's a repetitive script, right? So you'll just do what you have seen, whether it was good, whether it's bad, you will continue that. Or a corrective is that you will go the complete opposite way. You are not going to do what you saw in your family home, and you will be that militant parent, like child. I'm not dealing with this at all. Blah blah blah. She was very corrective. There had been no concerns about her and her child. We assessed, I think I even assessed her dad. I was in everyone's house. I was at the stepmom's house. I was at the, like, do you know what I mean? And it was very much like and most of the time the families manage themselves usually anyway. So what I was asking is, how for the last 20 odd years have you guys managed this mum and her substance misuse? What do you lot do? Oh, when she comes here, she came here for Christmas, but we were concerned that she was using, so we sent her home. Okay.
Did it help that she already had a young child and you could see that she's effectively like a good mother? Or does that not come into account in those kind of things?
I think it did kind of support the assessment that she had demonstrated that she was a good parent. So her child was in nursery doing really well, I think, or something along those lines. Like, obviously the main issues that we had were about boundaries, but also about how, so again, the borough that I lived in, housing, can we place this child here who might have needs? It's also, we don't know if this little boy is even gonna, can he walk, can he talk? Like what's the damage? Can you, will you be able to manage him and his needs, whatever they may be? She was like, she was like, her dad was very much like, let's go for it, let's do it. And I think about them all the time actually, and I reckon she is fine. I closed the assessment very confident that she would be absolutely fine with that baby.
So there's never a case where it has to be reopened. It's always okay, cool. Once they're placed, how long after are you looking after them?
we'll keep it open for like a few months, just to like a settling in period.
Okay.
We made sure that she got her court, because there had to be a court order for her to care for her brother. We made sure that was in place. And yeah, and you know, everyone has a right to a family life. After about a month or two, spoke to her and she was like, yeah, I'm happy. We're happy. We're good. We've got the support that we need, a support package, and we closed the case.
Makes sense. If there was another question for you, if there was one change you could make to the system, what would it be?
That is a big question. To the system.
Yeah, the system.
I think I have two changes. I would want like a very intense intervention for domestic abuse perpetrators.
Okay.
That's another massive issue. Could
you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, I would want the system to be able to address violence against women and girls in a better way. I don't know how. The thing is, I don't even know how, which is probably why there isn't like something that can be rolled out. But I would want there to be kind of like a heavier intervention around that. I would want, and the whole system would be overhauled so that the families kind of at the like lower socioeconomic level would be getting more support or more money. Do you see what I mean? Or not even more money, access to more resources for their children and for their families to thrive.
Right.
Those would be my two
main ones.
Yeah.
Okay. How, like, with obviously you're big on the social media, and like how has that kind of impacted or influenced your social working career, if any, if it has in any type of way?
Do you know what? Not at all, because I've only until very recently started talking about social work. I have stayed so far away from social work discussions because whenever I see, you know, like what happened, like there was a little girl that got killed by her dad, Sarah Sharif case the other day that came up, and you know that every so often there's a massive social work story that comes up, not even story, like issue that comes up in the news, and then I will read the comments and I'm like, I can't even tussle. Like the vitriol towards social workers is crazy. I'm not even getting involved in that because often it's the social worker that is like blamed and scapegoated. So I have stayed so far away from social work on social media, to be honest. Even when I'm out with my social work friends, I love them, but when I'm out with them, I'm like,
we're not talking about that.
Shut that down. Shut it down. I don't even want to have this discussion because it just gets very crazy. So not at all, actually, really.
Okay.
On top of that, is there enough that's done to actually help and support social workers? Because I always say, like, social workers go through some of the most emotionally distressed like things, because obviously they're working for people, etc., but it is going to affect them as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, every local authority will have like a counselling service available to you. You are encouraged to have like situational supervision, so that will be talking to your like manager about particular cases to make sure that you're or working with particular families to make sure that you're making the right decisions, make sure that the situation's not impacting you too much. And when the safeguarding concerns are really high or really like traumatic, there might be more supervision to talk about what's going on or to talk about decisions that need to be made or how working with that family is affecting you. So when I had a family that I worked with years ago, and it was a non-accidental injury. So when a child goes to hospital and the hospital check a child out and they realize that a child has been hurt, then children's services get a referral, and the baby was, I don't know, little, 2 or 3 months, like broken ribs, like detached retina, like all these sort of things. Didn't know if the baby was going to be able to walk or whether or not the baby was blind, and we didn't know who had done it. Right. So when I was working that case, then I had more supervision because it was just the level of like trauma in that case. Yeah. You just needed it more. But yeah, you're encouraged to have like therapy and stuff, or you know, to use the resources available that the local authority provide.
But they're surely not up to par.
Do you know what? I've never used them. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I've never used them. So I know when I was doing private law stuff, I had a psychologist but I would talk to them through whenever there was a case. It would be about cases, but I couldn't all my cases that I don't know why I've worked with loads of like witchcraft cases. So like, tell us a story. That's I can't even know. Don't we?
I swear we spoke about it months ago. Croydon was Croydon's like the #1 borough. I think either London or the UK for witchcrafty.
Yeah, there's the most
Croydon.
the most witches here.
In Croydon.
Yeah.
Croydon.
People that call themselves witches.
Okay. That does. Do you know what? There was actually a witchcraft like.
That don't surprise me.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Actually, I thought about it. Okay.
I'm not even putting it in relation to your cases, but just the fact that you said it, I was like,
it wasn't a Croydon case. I can say that. That doesn't surprise. I don't know why, but that does not surprise me. Actually, I think there was even like a witchcraft like conference at Fairfield Halls or something. Oh, don't.
No, there was.
There was. Yeah.
So that it's their convention.
There we go.
Yeah, bro.
There we go.
It's their convention. I said tough worker.
Please. It's a thing.
How does a witchcraft case work though? So like, how would that work?
One parent thinks the other parent's a witch. Now what do we do?
But what do you do?
Seek a psychologist.
Wingardium Leviosa. That's what she did.
We laugh, but I was
It's not even
stumped.
funny, but
It's not even funny. The poor little girl. Oh gosh, the poor little girl. One parent thought the other parent was a witch, and was not allowing contact.
oh,
Hence why there was a social worker involved.
hold on. Were they all in the same house?
No,
Okay,
thank
cool.
God they were not in the same
yeah.
house. Yeah, they wouldn't have made it in the same house. Yeah, one parent thought the other parent was a witch, and but it was getting to the level where it was starting to impact the child who was primary school age, and the child was starting to like pick up on her parents'
witchcraft
view of
tendencies.
and no her parents' view of the other parent. So
Right.
and I was like, this is not. And there was a cultural aspect, so it was an African family, so the cultural aspect to that. And I was like, and I could tell the court, like the judge was like, what do I do with this? Like, I don't think the other parent's a witch. Like, what do we do?
You almost want to laugh, but you
can't. But it's a serious thing
Yeah.
because you're telling your child, oh, you know, your dad's a witch, so your dad's a wizard or witch. Like don't eat when you're with your dad. Don't eat. But she spends the weekend with her dad, so now she's not eating for the weekend. Like, do you see? Do you see where the implications?
Because there's no real grounds as to why just paraphrasing, she shouldn't visit her dad.
Not that, I mean, there was no safeguarding concerns.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Dad was a difficult character. Like he was one of maybe the most difficult people that I'd worked with. But like, I don't think he was a witch. I don't think he was a witch. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So actually, psychologists like had a situational supervision, which basically said just carry on doing what I'm doing. Like, I'm just writing a report which says there's no safeguarding concern as to why this child can't see their dad. I know that you have concerns. I know mum has concerns, but actually there's not anything that we can evidence. So let's try to figure out, different ways to get it going. And the psychologist was really helpful. The psychologist was like, it's not about mum calling dad a witch. It's about understanding what's underneath that. So why is she calling him that? And actually, when I went back and did the assessment on the why,
you understood.
I understood better why she was calling him that, and it was about how their relationship was and the impact of their relationship on the mum. And actually, so when I wrote a new report to court and said, actually, what we're seeing here is a symptom of kind of the trauma of a relationship.
Their relationship breakdown, basically.
Yeah, which is manifested in mum genuine, and it's not. She wasn't joking. Genuinely believing that dad was a witch. Okay, we can work. I can work with trauma. We can deal with that easier than trying to determine whether this man's a witch or not. He's not. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Is that like the craziest kind of... So basically the grounds for social work can go anywhere. So we could make up something tomorrow. Or I could say a family just make up something you've never heard of tomorrow, and you have to go on what they're saying. and then diagnose that? I couldn't even think of something so far left. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of something just ridiculous.
You have to. Do you know what? Yes and no. Actually, when you think about most of the families I work with, the main concerns are poverty, neglect, and domestic abuse. Domestic abuse is mad. Is the rates of domestic abuse, sorry, are so high. And actually those are the three main things that you come up with against, just in different forms. Do you know what I mean? And an occasional, like, the kind of most, I can't say wildest, but a recent case that really stumped me was a cult. There's like cults, and trying to figure out whether or not a parent can still have contact with their child if they are part of a cult.
If the parent's part of a cult.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And how that works, and what's the implication for that child of seeing, like, what's the implication for that child of having a parent who's in a cult, and whether or not that can be managed safely or not. That was maybe one of the, like, most recent. I was like, let's get some
about that sort of stuff. There's no book to tell
there's
you.
no handbook.
There's not a book.
Yeah, to tell
How
you what
to do.
in
So
mental
that's
health.
about assessing it.
How to alleviate the cult.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the whole thing. But that got resolved. So yeah.
Jeez. Let's bring it a bit
Yeah,
more
bring it
positive.
back. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to go into social work, like, or consider that career path?
What advice would I
like,
give them?
I always call, like, social workers, they're one of the heroes in life, like, but they don't get enough credit.
No.
Oh, they're not a hero. Okay. Cool.
No. I think that's lovely.
I was wrong.
That's lovely. I don't think we're ever like depicted as a hero. That's so
No,
interesting to
that's
see.
what I said. I don't.
Yeah.
Never are, but like,
No.
bro.
I think you can't. I think you have to go into the role knowing that it's a massive responsibility. You are going to be in you're in people's lives at maybe the most difficult time of their lives, and that is something that you have to really, like, respect. If they wanted to be a social worker, just to think about kind of the impact that the role may have on themselves, and to be able to understand the self-care that they're going to need in this role. Social workers, but I burnt out of my first role, I burnt out quite badly, actually. And I think most social workers will go through a period of burnout because the role is so emotionally taxing. Like, I literally walked into my manager's office. I was like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm done with this. So let's wrap up these families, like, or move them on. I'm done. I'm done. Like, and it gets to that stage. So, but I didn't have the self-care skills. I would prioritize that from the beginning if I was gonna, like,
Self-care
advise
aspect.
anybody to get into it now.
So it's a real mental thing you're going to go through if you're going to take on this job.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And stress. And not just stress of working with different, like, families. Sometimes that they're not even the stressful part, but also working in a system that maybe there's not enough money and there's not enough support.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
There's a lot of challenging factors. It's literally not just one. On top of you trying to actually help a child, help a family. Hence why I say the hero aspect. Because I always say anyone that's doing a job that's actually helping people, bro, people also got their own shit. You no one knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
Whilst you just have to wake up and think, I need to help child X today.
Yeah.
Get through this and help this family bang, like, so.
And that's and I think, and exactly, you're literally waking up. I think when it gets to the stage where you're, like, waking up thinking about families, like going to sleep thinking about families, like, you have to be able to know where your limit is and where you can say, okay, like, enough now. Like, this is like going too far. Like, I need to look after myself as well, because if you're not looking after yourself, then how can you be effectively helping other people? So that, I think that's definitely, like, something that has to be prioritized.
So is that where the traveling stuff came from?
I started the travel.
Yeah. I was going to lead to that.
I think
That
maybe
is self-care.
That's self-care. I think I traveled a bit. No, that's more recent. I don't know. I don't know how I recovered from the. No, I think I traveled a little bit, like, after my first role.
Yeah.
But now, 100% actually. Like, I'm that you cannot stress me out. Like, I'm not even getting stressed about it anymore. I'm not. But obviously, the last role that I had was different. So private law, it was still stressful, but it was stressful in a different way. I wasn't firefighting. Like I wasn't going home like concerned that I would come back into like work the next day and have an email about
X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about that. So that helped as well. And then being able to like step away from work and travel has been helpful. But yeah.
Jeez.
So go on.
No, I was just gonna say fair play. That was me. That was me.
So stepping away from the social work aspect of things.
Yeah.
You have the Phenomenal Women's Club podcast.
Yep.
Phenomenal Women's Club movement. What does that woman's empowerment and those type of things mean to you? Because I know from a personal aspect that's a big deal. The Dr. Umar for the woman.
Dr. Umar for the woman.
Oh, is that what you're on?
No. Dr. Umar's in a lot of trouble at the moment as well. So let's.
I was about to say.
I'm not. But do you know what? What I've clocked like in these 10 years of social work is that the women are just going, I mean, everyone's going through it, but the women are just going through it. Like, and a lot of times when I'm sitting there, because you work with families for long term. So sometimes there was one family I worked with in my first borough for almost like 2 years.
I was going to ask about the attachment factor as well.
Yeah.
Like, because,
Yeah. Well, I said to my manager, I'm closing the case the day that I like knocked on the door. And the mum was like, the door's open. And I walked in and the little boy was like, oh, Jorden, get me the ketchup out of the fridge. I was like, all right. Like, got him the ketchup. I was like, yeah, how are you? How was school? I said, I need to close this case. Like, this is too familiar now.
Man said, get me the ketchup. Hey.
Oh, he get me the ketchup out of the fridge. I said, yeah. Oh, how's school?
It felt normal to you, isn't it?
No. Yeah. Because I'd seen them every week or 2 weeks for 2 years. We closed. A few months later, something had happened, reopened, and I jumped straight back in like nothing. Do you know what I mean? But talking to her and other mums, I was like, if women prioritize and center themselves in their lives more, they would make different decisions. And I find a lot of women are like struggling. I'm making very rash decisions because they are not centering themselves in their lives. They're not centering themselves in their relationships. And when a woman then breaks down, what we see is the whole family starts to break down. Like we see the whole family starts to break down. Mm-hmm. Like I know people find that controversial, like, oh, dads are doing their thing as well. But let's really be real. Most families, we know the backbone. The backbone of the family is the woman in that family. Not just the mum. I'm talking about the grannies. I'm talking about the older sisters. I'm talking about aunties who are involved. Like when they step away or when they are unable to help, things fall apart. We see that. So not so much the Dr. Umar, but definitely I love that. No, I'm gonna clip this and post this. That's so funny. But definitely doing like coaching, transitioning into coaching and coaching specifically women on being able to center themselves in their life. So they're making the correct decisions for themselves so that the family is not falling apart because they are not falling apart. And actually being able to, you want to be able to pour from a cup that's not empty. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the work that I'm getting into now. So it's exciting stuff, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeez, fair play. Again, I finally found the Adolescence quote that I was looking for.
Oh yes,
and it was from one of the co-writers. He said, "I want it to be shown in schools. I want it to be shown in Parliament. It's crucial because this is only going to get worse. It's something that needs to be talked about. Hopefully, that's what the drama can do." And then, obviously, you said the premise.
It needs to be shown 100%. It needs to be shown everywhere. Especially the red pill, like the red pill stuff, the rise of the red pill stuff, the Andrew Tate stuff. Like even I think last year I had 2 cases in court and Andrew Tate's name was raised. That's and right. I was like, oh, this is the problem. Like this is a problem actually. Yeah. No, misogyny, the male rage. It's and I think it's such a big problem. Nobody really knows where to start with it. Yeah. Obviously, we already know that violence against women and girls is on the rise. It's been on the rise for a long time. Like the last, who did the last survey that came out, which basically said that there's been no difference, or the rise has been rising for the last 16 years in regards to femicides.
Because I think Sarah Everard's the anniversary of her passing was either last month or the month before, and people was literally saying nothing's changed. It's even got worse since that.
Nothing's changed.
And stuff. So yeah, you just point it. And obviously, because I'm online quite a lot, I'm like, bro, I don't get why people actually celebrate these guys like that. Like, if any of my friends send me any of their clips, I'm like, I've told them in the past, respectfully, don't do that, bro. Like, just that one thing that they can say, that's not gonna cover up for the thousand shit that they say and do.
Yep.
Like,
100%.
especially him in particular. I'm like, bro, I've not got no time for. But by default, a lot of these things come up on Twitter. So
A lot. But you're an adult. So imagine if you were 13. And actually, Andrew Tate's name comes up in. Andrew Tate's name comes up in Adolescence, and I was like, oh, like I didn't think they were gonna drop a name, and they do, and I was like, yeah, this is it. The impact is very serious, and not just on boys, but on girls as well.
Yeah.
Like how the boys view themselves because of this stuff that's coming up, and then how do they view girls, and then how do girls view themselves in relation to that? Like,
it kind of centers. It kind of Adolescence kind of stems to the case that happened in Croydon
oh gosh, that case
with the Eliane.
Yeah,
It's similar to
very much so.
It's very similar to that sort of stuff, and the male ego or being rejected or whatever's gone on to then ending up in a situation where how the hell did this happen? And I feel like that's what we're trying to get away from, but it's very difficult right now to even.
I mean, yeah, when the young males got people that they look up to and shit like that, or just this whole freedom of speech aspect, it's just gone way over the hill with what people feel they can say, and then others want to jump on that bandwagon. And then, like he's saying, like it starts off with the young males, but they've got a lot of my age following as well.
Oh, 100%. Like I've
Crazy
definitely
amount.
spoken. I've got guys who are more older, right? And and we've always been cool, but maybe over the last few years have said stuff to me, and I'm like, oh my god, you are listening to that stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's a shift and there's a change. And it's really sad because actually it changes. You can almost see how it changes somebody's like outlook on life, and it's incredibly sad. It's incredibly sad, and it's incredibly dangerous, because if you think that a woman is like lesser to you, then that will affect how you treat her and how you treat others. And I think in Adolescence, in the episode with the psychologist, at one point he is using his like body to really intimidate her, and I was like, but you're 13, where have you learned that?
Right.
Like, and it's a scene that I think you'll probably see clips on social media a lot, and he towers over her and like screams in her face, and I know for a fact if it was a man, he would never have done that.
Yeah.
Because of the different reactions.
Never.
But that's the problem. We're living in the world today where social media influences so many things, and the young people, it's like the people that are saying the good things can't have a good influence on the younger generation because they're just here for the madness. And you know, we could sit here and have a discussion all night and tell them what to do and what's right. But if we then said, oh no, you know, body count, this and that, that's what they're hanging on to.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear the real stuff. They want to hear the nonsense. And then they're like, okay, I want to follow Myron and all these fools.
But the real stuff and the good stuff is being drowned out. There's not as much of the good stuff as there is of the nonsense, because the nonsense makes money and gets more views.
Yeah.
Do you see? So actually that means the nonsense is being like pushed more. The algorithm will push that stuff more.
Yeah. Of course, because the algorithm is AI. It's not knowing. It's just like, it doesn't. Yeah, it pushes what people watch.
Well, exactly.
Want to watch.
Yeah, and what people like to watch is controversy.
Yeah.
But this we're seeing the implications of that now. I mean, we've been seeing the implications of that, to be fair.
It's just further highlighted, if anything.
Yeah, and actually now it's becoming more like
It's
more
like
violent.
Yeah, you can literally on Twitter, for instance, every other day see some madness. You're like,
yeah, it's crazy.
It's become the norm, if anything.
Yeah,
Yep.
And we're also seeing the rise in domestic abuse in teenage relationships,
which is weird. Because what do you have? In my brain, I find it weird.
Yeah.
Because what are you fighting your partner for as a child?
Well, it's controlling behavior, isn't it? Like you know, it's controlling behavior.
Understood, but where are you learning that?
Well,
as
exactly.
A 13-year-old, 12-year-old. That's meant to be the fun time. So if you're doing that at 12, 13, what's going to happen? It's jail when you're 20.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Before, yeah.
Well,
Way
yeah.
Before that,
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
That's the only place it ends up.
So it's very concerning. Like every parent, every teacher, everyone should watch. And well, we won't even get to education, but everybody needs to watch this. You guys need to watch it
Nah, I'm
today,
definitely going
tonight.
100%.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna tune in. The whole house has been watching it, so I haven't.
Oh, everyone else has been watching it.
Yeah. I've just been watching. So I've seen half of what's going on.
Okay,
It's literally, I've got the tab open to watch it.
fine. So haven't you lot lost any friends to the red pill content? Haven't you lot lost any friends to Andrew Tate and his cronies?
None of my
That's
people
good.
watch Andrew Tate.
It's like,
Everyone's a grown up.
no, bro, it's not the grown up.
I'm telling you.
There's literal friends that have sent me stuff back in the day. Because what did he used to call Top G? Is that what he used to call himself or some jazz?
I don't know.
And
Maybe.
Like Top G, I'm like, bro, don't come with that bullshit
Top
to me, bro.
G.
Yeah, apparently that's what he used to call himself, like, bro. And I've told like them, no one sent of recent or I'd say even last year or so. It's like, don't send me his content, bro.
The problem is that he will say, from what I've gathered from other people who have come and spoken to me about him, and I'm like, why do you listen to him? The problem is like 10% of what he says makes sense and is factual,
Facts.
but then the 90 he fluffs it out with the 90% of nonsense.
Yeah.
But people will hold on to 10% and say, okay, well, everything he says is correct. Like someone very close to me, and a big man actually came to tell me like some nonsense about what Andrew Tate said, and I was like, it's not true. But he was like, but his justification is that, but he also said this, and that's true. So this other thing I've come to tell you about must be true too. And I was like, oh God.
Yeah. And especially because like, not even just him, people like him, they can articulate in a particular manner as well. So when they do say something that is either hits home or very much truthful, you're like, oh, raw. Like, now we're hearing it from this perspective, from someone that's carefree, as don't care, blah, 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 all that jazz. Is like, bruv. It's like...
And not just him, like, look at the
everything
president
else.
of America. Like, he says similar stuff and he's now president. So...
Basically.
Bro, in this life, there's no rules. There is no rules.
We're basically putting out a president where we're saying, look, say a madness, you can be the president of the United States.
You can be the president of the United States if you are old, white and rich.
Correct.
And say this, because Obama could have never said this and gotten in. So actually, this type of misogyny is for a particular demographic. It's not everybody, but everyone seems to be picking up on it. But bro, this isn't for you. It's not going to work out for you the same way it's going to work out for Trump, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So pipe down.
It's true. Speaking of women empowered, I've actually got a question for you.
Go on then, mate.
Because you actually...
Women empowerment.
Do you know what? Do you know why? Because you've actually grown up in a house with only women. And your dad, of course.
Yeah, man.
But you're the one boy in the family.
So, Jordan, if you don't know, I got
Yeah.
4 sisters.
4. Where do you fall in the line?
Exact middle. 2 older, 2 younger. So, yeah, go on.
Interesting.
Yeah, so my question for you is like, how is that kind of... Obviously, growing up around sisters and all that, so how has that kind of been for you and that the aspect of woman empowerment for you? How's that feel?
It's crazy because in work yesterday, we were having a call on gender. Like, because we'll do like different topics every now and then, like non-work related, but it'll be a work setting call and stuff. And I was basically saying like to colleagues that didn't know that I've got 4 sisters. I was like, it's my upbringing's helped shape me in a way where I could be a bit more, not me personally, more in touch with my emotional side, but more understanding to what women go through in it and stuff like that. So it's something that it's always made me aware to just be aware of my surroundings. Like, I don't have to be on guard 110%, but it's like, they're going to react in this particular way because they're going through this, etc. Because women naturally go through more stuff than men, innit? So I'm like, bro. So I think, and even when that time we were talking about, I can't remember who we had on, I think it was Aaron, and we were talking about children, etc. And then you said you want to be a girl dad, except just strictly girls.
Just strictly girls?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And
Okay.
most men want a boy first, innit?
No, you don't want a boy first.
But I was saying, I'd actually, God willing, if I do have children, I'd want a girl first because of my upbringing, innit? To kind of mirror that. Like, not in an arrogant way, but I feel like I'm all right when it comes to a lot of things, especially in terms of how women feel about certain things or my younger sister, etc. and stuff like that. So, like it's molded me decent enough where like I've got a strong figure as my mum, but like obviously my dad's a G as well. You get me?
Yeah.
So, and then I've got my sisters that like I've seen them either grow up from very early, know how to do stuff from themselves, like because like I was fairly spoiled in the sense where my older sisters, they're the reason why I did not get a job until very late, because they just used to. They like I didn't even have to ask them for money. They'd literally put money in my account and stuff. They paid for my first boys' holiday and stuff like that. And there's only each a year.
God bless the older sisters.
No, big bad thing. There's only like each a year age difference between them, but like they acted like I was really their baby brother, innit? For instance, so like anytime, obviously all my sisters, if they need anything, it's like boom, like as long as I can do it, I'll happily do it for them. And I've tried to. I think my boys have seen that aspect as well, because like my sisters would look after the man them when we were younger as well. Like so when I first went to Cardiff for uni, like my boys they'll FaceTime me on a video call, whatever. Cause my sisters have cooked and said the man Joe's friends come over and stuff like that. Yeah.
Your sisters are.
Yeah,
no,
no, like
good,
my older
good for
sisters
them.
are G's. Like obviously my younger sisters are G's as well, but like my
Yeah.
older sisters used to do that kind of stuff, bro. We'll have water fights in my old area, and my sisters will just start making fried chicken, leave it in a big bowl, and leave it outside the yard. Everyone come and stuff like that. So I've seen how my sisters are in it, and how my mum's been. Like my mum's very caring. There's always by default cousins, friends. Like when we were younger, anyone could be there, innit? So I feel like it's molded me fairly good. Like
it sounds like you got a good deal, actually. It sounds like you've got a good deal out of this.
And I said that to my colleagues yesterday. I was like, like obviously when you have those kind of conversations, you kind of draw out the negatives first. And I said, I'm going to be on the flip side. I'm going to draw out the positives. I've had a bit of a head start because of how the women in my family have been. Like even my cousins, some of my older cousins, or my cousins my age and stuff like that, bro. I always call the women in my family superwomen, innit? Get me? And I was dropping my younger sister home the other day with her son. And I was like, by default, you having a child now has given you strength that you didn't even know. And she goes, bro, you couldn't even imagine. I didn't think I could do half the shit. And I'm like, I don't think a lot of men can have that feeling unless by like say circumstances were bad, they were just a single dad. Do you know what I mean? Whereas women, I feel like they get that extra strength
anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
But I think it's also helped, like very like positive to hear you acknowledge that, because I think we're also in a space where the like emotional and physical and caring, nurturing labor of women is seen as a given more so than like something to be celebrated. So it's lovely to hear you kind of acknowledge that. But free the elder sisters, man. I don't know, like I love this for you. I love that your elder sisters were cooking chicken for everybody. Like, this is great. I love that they've supported you. But free the older sisters.
It's like if any of them need anything and I'm not available because of how they treated my friends, my boys will literally drop a lot of their stuff to do for my sisters.
No.
So it's like, bro. And I feel like that's how my family's been in general. So shout out to Mandem as well, you get me? Can't make it too pro women. But I just feel like that's how it is. So again, I feel like I'm fortunate in that sense. But then the flip side is I've not got an actual brother. You get me?
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone I know has got a brother. Or all my close boys have a brother. So it's like, but by default, it's fine. My brother,
yeah,
innit?
you got brothers, yeah.
Took it from my sister, so there we go.
Yeah.
So that's my answer to that question, I think.
Nice. Song of the week.
Song of the week.
Me?
Everyone. We have a segment.
Oh my gosh.
You can use your phone.
Can you? Yeah. Sorry. I was like trying to go off my. Oh wait, can I give a soca song?
Any song,
bro.
you want.
It could be
Okay,
any song.
hold on.
We've had someone come on and play a song that wasn't even released. They just played 10 seconds.
Sorry,
They're playing the clip, the Instagram reel.
That was it.
They're like, oh, I like this song.
Yeah, and it was released like a month later.
Yeah, he said this one.
This
Fuji.
one, yeah.
I have a song. So I've learned the difference between soca and bouillon. There's just
Okay.
the whole thing. I've been on my Boyon journey, and so my song will be Fire Truck by Boyon. Oh no, that's not it. By Trev Lee, and it's a Boyon song.
So Boyon's
It's like a different. It's not soca.
it's a sub-genre of
Yes.
soca to it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I've never actually heard of that.
yeah. It's like Dominican.
Ah.
It's sick. It's so Carnival this year. If they are playing Boyon as well as soca,
You're going to that float.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there. Yeah, that's my song.
My song of the week this week is by Burna Boy, and it's Collateral Damage.
It's one of the best songs of all time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Collateral Damage.
That song is amazing.
Great
I'm
song.
busting it. Hey, don't let me sing it for you. My song of the week is Chop Daily Sounds, and the song is called Down.
Nice.
That's me.
Nice.
But hey, Jordan, big up you all the time. You get me. Happily come on. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. You taught me quite a lot as well. Because I feel like we only see the surface of social work in that instance. Even the people that we know, like no one actually goes into depth with certain stuff. And that again, that's where I always say, I say social workers are kind of heroes, because a lot of the stuff can get filtered. Like it's just through the system. Do you know what I mean? And it's just get up and do it. But bro, they are people that go through a lot as well. So very much appreciate you sharing this, and to also in general spread the positivity, because it's happy
Social Work Month.
Exactly.
Yeah, so big up any social workers that you know. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's nice to talk about the experience. Yeah, it's been good to be here. And actually, it's true. Like people don't speak about social work in like very candid ways usually. So this has been a great opportunity. Thanks.
Anything you want to shout out? Do so now.
Or
No.
forever
Oh,
hold your
follow
peace.
me, guys, on TikTok at Jordan being Jordan, and on Instagram at Jordan being Jordan. Yeah, and I'll just be rambling on there about stuff. So yeah, follow me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna shout out her podcast because clearly she forgot about that. So Phenomenal Woman's podcast also. Yes, shout out that. So yeah, that's also new episodes coming soon. Who knows? But, hey.
New episodes coming soon. They're coming.
So yeah.
That's a very good name, you know. Jeez, but in my head now I just know it as the Dr. Uma podcast.
That is so funny. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that title. Yeah.
I mean, hey.
Next episode, Dave.
That's just me.
Yeah, next episode, Dave.
The female Dr. Uma. Yeah, okay.
I'm definitely going to check it out, though. 100%. But yes, obviously, Dej ain't here, but as Dej, let's say.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
And of course, Jacob's here.
Like and subscribe.
Get me. Hey, thank you again, guys. Everyone, keep commenting, listening, watching, whatever it is. And send things our way, and we will continue trying to address them. And obviously, you know we like to get involved in the comments. Unless you guys are having a conversation between yourselves, we leave you to it. Joe, MBT, I'm signing out.
Jacob, signing out.
Bye, everyone.
She don't even want to say her name. Peace, people.
Thank you for listening.